Okay, let's see briefly how loading and unloading units work. To load a unit, a transport must be adjacent to the unit to be transported. For example, I have here an Italian truck. I can tell it to transport by the small icon on the right, top right corner here. This is a symbol of transports. And I must be adjacent to a unit. I want to transport this engineer's unit. And I must spend 1 AP. So I'm going to spend my AP here. I'm taking on board the Italian engineers unit. At this point, only the vehicle will be spending APs to move on the map, not the transported unit. Being a vehicle, I will spend 1 AP. With 1 AP, I'll be able to move 2 axes on clear terrain. This is all clear terrain. So I'm moving 1, 2. I can always go through my units, my other units. I want to go further down, so I'm spending another AP. 1, 2. So it's 2 APs, and then I will spend an extra AP. A third AP. I could move another X, but I don't need to. So 3 APs in total. 1, 2, 3. I still have some APs to use, and I want to unload the engineer. So to unload it, you simply spend 1 AP. There you go. And you can unload the unit in any adjacent X. So any X adjacent to the transport will do. If it's a legal X, of course, I can't unload a unit in the middle of a river or in an X where an enemy unit is or one of my units is. So I can for sure unload this unit here because it's empty, it's clear terrain, no problem. At this point, I still have, I'm still the active player, so I can still try and perform some actions or do some tests. In this case, I want to do a test. Basically, I want to let's pretend this is a mob, a threatening mob. I want to transform this threatening mob into a peaceful crowd. So to do this, I choose an adjacent unit. I got an infantry unit here. I use the small arms column, so the cost will be 4 APs, and the die I will have to roll is the green die. So I go to my dice. I'll get the green die, and I'll roll it. Oh, nothing happens. So in this case, the Italians didn't manage to transform this mob into a civilian, into peaceful civilians. At this point, I spent 4 APs, so I go to 26, 4 APs to try and transform this mob into peaceful civilians, and the green player becomes the active player. The green player, at this point, would like to transform this peaceful crowd into a mob, a threatening mob. Now, this is something that only the insurgent units, only the green faction units can do, not the regular army units. To do it, I do just like I did with the Italian infantry. So basically, I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to transform peaceful civilians into a threatening mob, while with Italians I was trying to transform a mob of protesters into a peaceful civilian crowd. So I do the same. I check the small arms values. I use the cost of small arms, so it's 4, and the die here is the green one. So I spend 4 APs. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I roll the green dice. Okay, at this point I must check the test icons that are the ones on the bottom left corner. not this one, not the one in the center. These are icons used only for fire combat. So the icon is a thumbs up icon. I go to my test chart to see what that means. I look for the test I'm going through, which is this one, transforming a mob into peaceful civilians or vice versa, and I can check the result with thumbs up or a medal. Result is a success. So the insurgents managed to transform this peaceful crowd into a mob of rioters. So I flip it. There you go. At this point, the insurgent is still the active player and can still perform some actions. And let's say that the insurgent wants to move here, spending 1 AP. Okay, so now the active player, having more APs than his opponent, becomes the active player once again and can perform actions. So the Italians at this point want to try and remove the roadblock. This is once again a test that can only be performed by engineer units. Engineer units are the units that have the special skill icon here on the bottom left corner. Basically, I have to check once again a small armed column, and the cost would be 4 for APs, but instead of checking the color of the second number, I will have to check the color of the symbol. So it's still green. So I'll roll the green die. Oh, first let me pay the cost. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we'll roll the green dice. Okay, I got a thumbs up icon. It means that if I go and check on the test chart, here it is, removing blocks, removing roadblocks. Thumbs up or medal means success. So I managed to remove the block with my engineers. The block goes away, and the street is now clear. So this is how roadblocks and civilian counters work, and loading and unloading and transporting units work. One more thing, I forgot to mention that if you're transporting a unit, the unit is always safe unless the vehicle that is transporting the unit is eliminated. But any other kind of damage goes only to the vehicle, the transport, not to the transported unit.